the 18th of April 1943. Bougainville, Solomon Islands. The South Pacific sky shines with an impossible blue, 25,000 feet altitude. Outside temperature, -40 degrees Celsius. Lieutenant Kenji Yanagiya, an ace with 11 confirmed victories, flies his Mitsubishi A6M0 to 20,000 feet, the maximum altitude for his Nakajima Sakai engine. Above that, the Zero begins to choke, the engine coughs, it loses power. Yanagiya looks down with disdain. Americans fly heavy and low. Their P-40 Warhawks barely reach 15,000 feet. Their F-4F Wildcats turn like trucks, slow, predictable. Easy prey for Zero's deadly dance. At that morning's briefing, the squadron commander laughed at the intelligence reports. The Americans built a fighter jet with 2 fuselages, 2 tails. It looks like a flying lobster. They call it Lightning. Laughter filled the room. It must weigh as much as 2 planes, too. It'll fall out of the sky trying to turn. Yanagiya lights a cigarette in the cockpit, violating regulations. At 20,000 feet, he is untouchable, king of the Pacific. His eyes lazily scan the horizon. Then he sees silver dots, way above, impossibly above, 30,000 feet, maybe 35,000. Yanagiya rubs his eyes. No fighter jet flies that high. It must be his imagination, or lost B-17 bombers. The dots dip. Unbelievable speed. Faster than any dive by Zero. Faster than physics should allow. Yanagiya pushes the control stick. Dives. Maximum acceleration. 350 miles per hour. Zero's terminal velocity before the wings tear off. The silver dots approach like meteors. 400 miles per hour. 450. 475. For the first time in 2 years of war, Kenji Yanagiya feels something he had forgotten. Fear. What he didn't know was that at that moment he was witnessing the end of Japanese air supremacy in the Pacific. The sky had a new predator, and it hunted above the clouds, where Zeros couldn't reach. Burbank, California. Lockheed Aircraft Corporation office. Clarence Kelly Johnson, 27, chief engineer, looks at the U.S. Army Air Corps specifications. Circular X, 608. Impossible requirements. Minimum speed, 360 miles per hour at 20,000 feet. No American fighter came close to that. Range, 1,000 miles. Armament, 4. 50 caliber machine guns and 120 mm cannon. Operational ceiling, 40,000 feet. Do they want a fighter jet or a bomber? Asks Hall Hibbard, vice president of Lockheed. Kelly scribbles on a napkin. Radical design. 2 fuselages. Allison V, 1,000, 710 engines in each nacelle. Central cockpit. If we can't make one engine powerful enough, we use 2. The military hates the design. Too complex. Too expensive. It seems ridiculous. General Henry Hap Arnold sees the XP-38 prototype and declares, "This is not an airplane. It's an engineering monstrosity." First flight. The 27th of January, 1939. Test pilot Ben Kelsey climbs to 10,000 feet. All normal. 15,000 feet. Controls respond well. 20,000 feet. Still climbing strongly. 25,000. 30,000. 35,000 feet. Kelsey doesn't believe the altimeter. 38,000 feet. Unofficial altitude record for hunting. It dives. The airspeed indicator goes past 400 miles per hour, 420, 450. Controls lock, compressibility. Unknown aerodynamic phenomenon. The plane is breaking the localized sound barrier. Kelsey pulls on the control stick with all his might. Nothing. The XP-38 continues its dive. 500 miles per hour. Faster than any aircraft has gone. Miraculously, at 8,000 feet, the denser air slows the plane. The controls respond. Kelsey lands, pale and trembling. "It almost killed me," he reports. "But good heavens, what a machine." The 11th of February 1939. Transcontinental demonstration flight. XP-38 takes off from March Field, California, bound for Mitchell Field, New York. Over Ohio, ice. Carburetor freezes. Left engine dies. Kelsey attempts to land on a golf course. Landing gear fails to deploy. Belly landing. XP-38 destroyed. The press ridicules. Lockheed builds a $2 million plane. It lasts 2 weeks. Air Force almost cancels the program, but Kelly Johnson doesn't give up. He solves the ice problem. General Electric Type B turbo superchargers. Maintains power up to 40,000 feet. Intercoolers, diving flaps to control compressibility. August 1941. P-38E enters production. Complex, 16,000 parts, twice as many as any other fighter. Each plane costs $120,000. A P-40 costs $45,000. Pilots hate it. Difficult to fly. Kills rookies. Counter-rotating engines are confusing. The cockpit feels like a greenhouse. It's too hot, an instructor in Muroc states. The P-38 is an engineer's plane, not a pilot's plane. Nice on paper. Garbage in the air. No one imagined that this garbage would soon dominate the skies of the Pacific so completely that Japanese pilots would develop a specific name for the terror they felt. Ni Hikoki, the demonic double plane. December 1942, Guadalcanal. First P-38 squadron arrives in the Pacific. 339th Fighter Squadron. Inexperienced pilots, problematic planes, missing parts, incorrect manuals. Major John Mitchell is in command, a pessimistic veteran. Guys, this plane is complicated. It has 2 of everything, twice the chance of something going wrong. December 15th. First combat mission. 12 P-38 seconds escort bombers. They encounter 15 Zeros. Disaster. Lieutenant Murray Shubin forgets to turn on the gun heater. The weapon freezes at 25,000 feet. Useless. Lieutenant Bob Forrott attempts a classic dogfight with Zero. Tight turn. Zero easily flips inside, riddled with bullets. The turn is punctured. Captain Thomas Lanphier Jr. dives too fast. Compressibility. Almost loses control. Escapes by luck. 2 P-38 seconds lost. No Zeros shot down. Combat report. P-38, inadequate for air combat in the Pacific. Unable to maneuver with Zero. Recommended for reconnaissance use only. Zero pilots celebrate. Lieutenant Junichi Sasai writes in his diary, "The new American fighter is a joke. Big, slow, clumsy. 2 tails only make it easier to hit. A gift from the gods." Radio Tokyo broadcasts. The American Lightning's pathetic performance proves the superiority of Japanese engineering. Complexity doesn't replace elegance. Weight doesn't beat agility. JAF Commander General Hitoshi Imamura declares, "Let them spend fortunes on these 2-tailed monsters. Each P-38 costs 3 Zeros, and 1 Zero takes down 3 P-38 seconds. American morale plummets. Transfer requests triple. Pilots feign illness to avoid flying the double coffin. But one pilot notices something different. Major Charles Lindbergh. Yes, Lindbergh. The transatlantic hero, now a civilian consultant for United Aircraft. He notices something everyone else ignores. You're fighting the wrong war, trying to dance with Zeros. P-38 seconds aren't dancers, they're killers." January 1943. Henderson Field, Guadalcanal. Charles Lindbergh gathers the pilots of the 339th Squadron. He draws on the blackboard. Forget dogfights. Forget curves. Zeros are made of paper and dreams. Light, agile, but weak. Point to the P-38 on the runway. This is a hammer. 20,000 pounds of metal and power. 2 engines of 1,000. 475 horsepower each. Turbo superchargers. Climbs where Zero can't reach. Dives faster than Zero can handle. Demonstrate using wooden models. Energy. Altitude is energy. Speed is energy. You attack from above, always from above. Dive, shoot, climb. If you miss, don't turn, don't slow down, keep going. Climb where they can't follow. Lieutenant Richard Bong, future ace of aces, asks, "What if they're above us?" Lindbergh smiled. "Impossible. P-38 climbs to 40,000 feet, 0 barely reaches 33,000, and at 35,000 feet, you still have 80% of your power. 0 has 30%. The 27th of January 1943. Proof of concept. Lieutenant Bong climbs to 35,000 feet, sees a formation of zeros 10,000 feet below. Dives. Angle of 45 degrees. Speed exceeds 475 miles per hour. Zeros try to disperse. Very slow. Bong lines up at the leader. 4 50 caliber machine guns and a 20 mm cannon converge. Zero's wings disintegrate. Bong continues diving. Doesn't turn. Climbs on the other side. Zeros try to follow him. Impossible. Engines sputter at altitude. Bong dives again. Another zero explodes. In 3 minutes, 2 zeros destroyed. Not a single shot fired at the P-38. The news spreads. Boom and zoom tactic. Attack and move up. Never turn. Never slow down. February 1943. The ratio of losses changes. January. 5 P-38 seconds lost for every zero. February. 1 to 1. March. 1 P-38 lost for every 3 zeros. But it is on the 18th of April, 1943, that everything changes definitively. Operation Vengeance. American intelligence deciphers Japanese code. Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, architect of Pearl Harbor, will inspect bases in Bougainville. 16 P-38 seconds from the 339th Squadron receive an impossible mission. Intercept Yamamoto. 435 miles over water. Perfect navigation required. Margin of error. 0. Major Mitchell leads. Low-level flight. 50 feet above the water to avoid radar. 2 hours. No visual references. Only compass and stopwatch. 9:34. Bougainville Island on the horizon. 9:35. 2 Mitsubishi G-4M Betty bombers appear. Escort of 6 zeros. Lieutenant Rex Barber dives. Ignores zeros. Focuses on Betty. Long burst. Betty's right engine catches fire. Plane crashes in the jungle. Inside, Admiral Yamamoto, dead. 2. 50 caliber bullets in his body, 1 in his head. The news is shaking Japan. How did the Americans know? How did they get so far? How come the zeros didn't protect them? Surviving pilot Kenji Yanagita testifies. P-38 seconds appeared out of nowhere, faster than thought. They fired. They climbed. They disappeared into the clouds. We couldn't catch up. We couldn't pursue. We just watched Yamamoto die. June 1943. The transformation is complete. P-38 seconds dominate the Pacific skies. Japanese pilots develop specific neuroses. Twin-tail syndrome, nightmares with twin silhouettes. Captain Satoshi Anabuki, ace with 39 victories, confessed in the post-war period. 0 was designed for air samurai. One-on-one. P-38 didn't fight. It executed. Always above, always faster. No honor, no mercy, only efficiency. The numbers are brutal. Richard Bong, 40 victories, all in P-38 seconds. Thomas Maguire, 38 wins. Charles MacDonald, 27 wins. Gerald Johnson, 22 wins. Everyone flying Lightning. Everyone using the same tactic. Ascend, dive, kill, escape. August 1943. Wewak, New Guinea. 67 P-38 seconds attack a Japanese airbase. They take down an entire squadron. In 15 minutes, 150 Japanese planes are destroyed. 3 P-38 seconds are lost. Colonel Takeo Watanabe, commander of the base, commits seppuku. Farewell letter. I failed to protect the Emperor's planes from two-tailed demons. September 1943. Rabaul. P-38 seconds establish total air superiority. Zeros refuse combat. When P-38 seconds appear, the order is to flee. Preserve aircraft. This destroys morale. Pilots trained to die gloriously are now ordered to race. Lieutenant Hiroyoshi Nishizawa, an ace with 87 victories, openly cries, "We are no longer eagles, we are pigeons." The P-38 turned us into pigeons. The sound becomes legendary. Counter-rotating Allison engines create a unique harmonic, a high-pitched howl. The Japanese call it whistling death. October 1943. Secret report from the Imperial Navy. The P-38 Lightning represents an existential threat to Japanese aviation. Performance characteristics. Top speed, 414 miles per hour at 25,000 feet. Zero speed, 351 miles per hour at 20,000 feet. Operational ceiling, 44,000 feet. Zero, 33,000 feet. Rate of ascent, 4,750 feet. Minute. 0, 3,100 feet. Minute. Power of fire, 4x. 50 calories plus 1 x 20 millimeters. Convergence at 300 yards. Devastating. Recommendation. Avoid combat at all costs above 20,000 feet. The P-38 is invincible at high altitude. December 1943. The rate of defeats reaches apocalyptic levels, 15 P-38 for each zero. But worse than statistics is the psychological effect. Captured diary entry of Lieutenant Yukio Seki. I haven't slept in weeks. When I close my eyes, I see double silhouettes. We wake up knowing that today might be the day we find Nihikoki. Double plane. Some pilots take off and crash planes into the sea. They prefer drowning to burning under American cannons. The P-38 was not just a machine, it was a philosophy. American philosophy of war, pragmatism over honor, technology over tradition, production over perfection. General George Kenney, commander of the 5th Air Force. The Japanese built Zeros for artists. We built P-38 seconds for engineers. They wanted to duel. We wanted to kill. The fundamental difference. Zero was designed for the kind of pilot Japan had. Samurai, devoted, skilled, willing to die. The P-38 was designed for the kind of pilot America had. Farm boy, 3 months of training, wanting to go home. Zero needed an artist. P-38 needed a procedure. Charles Lindbergh explained in a post-war lecture. Zero was an extension of the pilot. Organic. Intuitive. P-38 was a system. Checklist. Altitude. Speed. Angle. Firing. Any idiot who followed procedure survived. And killed. The production tells a parallel story. Japan built 10,939 Zeros throughout the war. Each one carried 15,000 man-hours. Handcrafted, tuned by hand. America built 10,037 P-38 seconds. Each one required 7,000 man-hours. Production line, interchangeable parts. But there was more. Training system, Japan. Zero pilot trained for 2 years. When he died, he was irreplaceable. America. P-38 pilot trained for 4 months. When he died, 3 replacements were ready. The quality of Japanese pilots is plummeting. Veterans are dead. Rookies barely know how to take off. The quality of American pilots is increasing. Veterans become instructors. Rookies arrive prepared. Colonel Mitsuo Fuchida, commander of the attack on Pearl Harbor, admitted, "We taught our pilots to die well. Americans taught their pilots to kill well. In the end, killing well proved more useful." The P-38 also changed the geography of warfare. Range of 1,300 miles with external tanks. Zero, 1,900 miles, but sacrificing protection and armament. The P-38 could choose where to fight, when to fight, how to fight. Japanese base 600 miles away. P-38 attacks at dawn, returns for lunch. Zero squadron over water. P-38 waits. Zeros have to return. Limited fuel. P-38 attacks on the return. When Zeros are low on fuel. Major Thomas Lynch. 20 victories. We weren't fighter pilots. We were energy managers. Altitude is energy. Speed is energy. Fuel is energy. We managed it better. That's why we won. But perhaps the most profound lesson, P-38 proved that complexity, when mastered, surpasses simplicity. 0. Simple. Elegant. 3,500 kilograms. Single motor. Easy maintenance. P-38. Complex. Brutal. 8,000 kilograms. 2 engines. Turbochargers. Intercoolers. Dual hydraulic system. Dual electrical system. When it worked, it was invincible, and America made it work, not through Bushido, through manuals, training, spare parts, logistics. As Kelly Johnson said, any idiot can do something simple. It takes all of America to make something complex work, and we did, 10,000 times. The 15th of August 1945. Day of the Japanese surrender. Captain Kenji Yanagiya, the same one from the beginning, survived the war, the only one left from his original squadron. Now he instructs teenage kamikaze pilots who will never take off. He is at the Atsugi airfield when the first American P-38 seconds arrive. The occupation begins. Yanagiya watches the Lightning's landing. Synchronized engines sing their two-note song, a sound that terrified Japanese pilots for 3 years. An American pilot descends. Lieutenant Oliver Johnson, 19 years old. Baby face. Yanagiya notices. Boy looks bored. Just another day at work. Through an interpreter, Yanagiya asks, "How many flight hours do you have?" 287 hours. Yanagiya almost cried. He had 2,000 flight hours when the war started, considered a rookie by Japanese standards. Johnson asks back, "Did you fly against P-38 seconds?" "Yes, often." "What was it like?" Yanagiya thinks. How to explain the terror, the helplessness, the humiliation of running? It's like fighting against the sky. You can't reach it. You can't escape it. You can only wait for the lightning to strike. Johnson shrugs. All you had to do was follow the manual. Go up, dive, shoot, repeat. Just follow the manual. Yanagiya finally understands. They didn't lose to superior pilots. They lost to a superior system, a superior method, a superior philosophy. Bushido demanded individual perfection. America created systematic perfection. In Yanagiya's diary, her last entry, "We laughed when we saw the P-38 for the first time. 2 tails, 2 fuselages. It looked like an engineering mistake, a joke. Now I understand. It wasn't a mistake. It was excess. Excess power, excess altitude, excess speed, excess of everything. America didn't build fighter planes. It built a flying execution platform. And it executed us. Methodically, systematically, completely. We called it ni hikoki, double plane. We were wrong. Era ni akumu, double nightmare. And we woke up too late. They laughed when they first saw the P-38. Too complex, too heavy, too expensive. They stopped laughing when they realized that complexity was power, weight was protection, cost was capacity. In every meeting about the Pacific, one truth crystallized. The sky belongs to whoever climbs the highest, and no one could climb higher than the two-tailed devil. The double thunderclap spoke of 10,000 battles, and when silence fell, the empire of the rising sun had set. Forever, the sky never again belonged to the winged samurai. It belonged to the American boys and their impossible machines. Machines that shouldn't fly, but they flew, higher than mountains, faster than fear, further than hope, until victory, until the end.